Breaking codes didn't just win battles, it saved convoys. In the dark days of World War II, the Atlantic Ocean was a graveyard. German U-boats, hunting in packs, were sinking hundreds of Allied merchant ships, choking the vital supply line to Britain. This was the Battle of the Atlantic, a conflict Churchill called the dominating factor of the war. The key to the U-boat's success was a deviously complex machine, the Enigma. Each German submarine, each naval command, had an Enigma machine. Every day, they used it to send encrypted messages, coordinating their attacks with deadly precision. From the outside, these messages were just a jumble of letters, an unbreakable code. To the sailors on the convoys, it meant that at any moment, without warning, a torpedo could tear through their hull. The losses were catastrophic. In 1942 alone, U-boats sank over 1,000 Allied ships. The situation was desperate. How could you fight an enemy you couldn't see? Who knew your every move? The answer lay hidden in the quiet English countryside, at a place called Bletchley Park. This wasn't a military base in the traditional sense. It was a mansion filled with mathematicians, linguists, and chess champions. These were the Codebreakers, the secret weapon the Allies desperately needed. Their target was Naval Enigma, the most complex version of the German cipher machine. It was a monumental task. The Enigma machine had millions upon millions of possible settings, and they changed every single day. Cracking it once wasn't enough. They had to crack it every single day. Led by brilliant minds like Alan Turing, the team at Bletchley Park developed incredible techniques and machines. One of these was the bomb, an electromechanical device designed to rapidly test different Enigma settings. It was essentially a decryption engine, a forerunner to the modern computer. But even with the bomb, they needed a starting point, a crib, a guessed piece of plaintext. These could come from captured documents, routine weather reports, or even the predictable formatting of German messages. Every little clue was a lifeline. The breakthrough came, but it was a constant, grueling battle. Sometimes they would be in the code for weeks, reading German naval traffic almost in real time. Then, the Germans would change the system, add another rotor to the Enigma, and the Codebreakers would be plunged back into darkness, scrambling to find a way back in. It was during these blackout periods that convoy losses would spike dramatically. The connection was undeniable. When the Codebreakers were successful, the impact was immediate and life-saving. The intelligence they gathered, codenamed Ultra, was pure gold. It revealed the exact positions of U-boat patrol lines. Imagine being the Admiralty in London. You have a map of the Atlantic, and on it, you can see where the wolf packs are lying in wait. With this information, they could reroute convoys, guiding them through safe corridors, completely bypassing the U-boat traps. For the sailors on those ships, it felt like a miracle. One day, they're sailing into what they believe is certain danger. The next, their course is suddenly altered for no apparent reason, taking them hundreds of miles out of their way. They wouldn't know why. They would just be grumbling about the delay, unaware that they had just sailed around a waiting wolf pack that would have sent them to the bottom of the ocean. The Codebreakers at Bletchley Park were invisible guardian angels for thousands of merchant seamen. One famous example is Convoy HX-229 and SC-122 in March 1943. It was one of the largest and most brutal convoy battles of the war. A massive wolf pack of over 40 U-boats descended on them. Bletchley Park was in a blackout period, unable to read the U-boat messages. The result was a disaster, with over 20 ships sunk. But shortly after, the Codebreakers broke back into the Enigma traffic. They were able to warn the Admiralty of the next planned massacre. Convoy Anzes 5, sailing a few weeks later, was routed directly away from a gathering of 30 U-boats. While it still faced a fierce battle, the prior intelligence allowed the escort ships to be better prepared, and they inflicted heavy losses on the attackers. This was a turning point. The intelligence wasn't just about avoidance. Ultra-decrypts also allowed the Allies to go on the offensive. Instead of just dodging U-boats, they could now actively hunt them. Hunter-killer groups, consisting of escort carriers and destroyers, could be vectored directly onto the coordinates of a refueling U-boat or a U-boat on its way to its patrol area. The hunters became the hunted. Admiral Dönitz, the commander of the German U-boat fleet, was baffled. He wrote in his war diary, "The enemy knows all our positions and is concentrating his attacks on them." He suspected a spy, never imagining the Allies were reading his most secret communications. The strategic importance of this signals intelligence, or SIGINT, cannot be overstated. It didn't just save ships and supplies. It shortened the war. By keeping the Atlantic supply lines open, the Allies could build up the immense force needed for the D-Day landings. Without the food, the fuel, the weapons, and the troops ferried across the ocean, the invasion of Europe would have been impossible. The work at Bletchley Park was so secret that its full story wasn't revealed until decades after the war. The men and women who worked there went to their graves with their secrets, their contributions unknown to the public. Think about it. The entire Battle of the Atlantic was a game of cat and mouse played out across millions of square miles of ocean. The U-boats were the cats, and the convoys were the mice. But the Codebreakers gave the mice a map of where the cats were hiding. They transformed a desperate defense into a strategic victory. It's a powerful reminder that in warfare, information is as crucial as ammunition. The quiet, intellectual work of a few hundred people in a British country house directly saved thousands of lives and was a decisive factor in winning the Second World War.